Yeah, jobs report a little better than expected when you look at the underlying numbers, but this Michigan number, all of them are pretty terrible. The University of Michigan sentiment falls to 67.8 from 71.1. The current conditions index 68.7 from 74, and expectations 67.3 from 69.3. So people are not at this point seeing a lot of strength in the economy, but they are seeing inflation. This is really, really interesting. The Michigan one-year inflation number jumps to 4.3%. Wow. That is a 1 percentage point gain in one-year inflation expectations over the January number. 5 to 10-year inflation goes up just a tick to 3.3 from 3.2. But these numbers, we'll have to go under the hood and see exactly where people were upset. But these numbers are not particularly good news for the Fed or for the administration.
And in terms of that one-year inflation expectation in particular, 4.3% up from 3.3%, and an expectation for that to stay the same. Does this have any indication at all that we might be coming unanchored?
You know, if it continued that way, you'd say that, and certainly the size of the move gives you something to be concerned about. Whether it's unanchored or not, it's hard to tell when you have just one data point.
It's quite jarring for the bond market, isn't it? If we look at 10-year government bond yields, we're at 4.49 now, so we are spiking higher. There's the Russell, there's the bond market for you. We went into this with a really strong wages and unemployment number from the non-farm payrolls. So this is going to spook us slightly ahead of the CPI next week, isn't it, Mike?
It's hard to explain, not because it's complicated, but because economists don't have a really good answer. But basically, people are, on a macro sense, the numbers are good. But apparently, at the local sense, when you're talking about yourself, people are thinking things aren't.
But this is prescient for the Fed, because the five-year horizon is what really matters for the Fed, isn't it?
Yes, and although they're concerned in terms of becoming unanchored with the 1 year, because that's much more volatile, and the fact that it moved this much is surprising. But then you look at the jobs report, and 143,000, not all that bad, especially if you're averaging, because the December number was 307,000. 4.0% for unemployment, also good, because at this point we're not seeing a weakening in the labor market that's going to bother the Fed and lead them to cut. And then you look at the average hourly earnings up 0.5% and pushes it up to 4.1% on a year-over-year basis, still well ahead of inflation. So the economy is still strong, and it's just that people are worried about it, which is a kind of interesting development. It may be, and I don't want to go too far down this road, but it may be politics. It may be people worried about what's going to happen with tariffs. It may be worried about the U.S. invading Greenland or something like that.
Yes.
But there is some concern.